Water is the softest and most yielding substance, yet nothing is better than water for overcoming the hard and rigid, because nothing can compete with it. Lao Tzu.
Name straight, new wave. 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 Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yours.
Sitting in a 4v3. Everfrog Esports trying to find what angle they can, trying to find somebody out of position. We're gonna go through on this. Oh, what a roll. We're gonna take flag. See White gonna go in.
It's going to be a really, really interesting one.
Oh my god. All of this competition could be so damn close, so I cannot wait for us to finally decide who's going to be the champion. We are expecting some chaos, some great moments.
A beast mode has killed 3. Only gonna really need that rampage, so gonna clear it out. Santi gonna get themselves a big old 4K. Oh. Santi getting rid of 3, clearing out the house.
That is crazy.
Nunji actually kills 3 people.
This team feels entirely different on this faster composition. Now Saga is hanging around, getting onto the high ground. Post bomb's gonna stick on the Leaky. They're not gonna be able to survive it at the end of the day. Blue manages to find a 3K.
Rio shoving this Ana into a corner. Woo! One more for the road for Rio.
That is all signs go. Melophobia with 3 Melophobia. Start the fight. They'll end the fight. Oh my god. Beagle Bus, they have to play aggressively into this energy. Popping off in a moment where you needed just that. Ruby in that backline. Oh, the flick. Looking for it. Oh my goodness. The 4th one as well. Do they get the ace? They get the ace.
All right, welcome back, everybody. The playoffs will continue here on CGL 2, the Season 14 playoffs in the NAGM tier. We've got our last losers. I believe this is the quarterfinals here between RRG Varsity and Enenra to see whose season is going to continue and who is getting bounced tonight.
Yeah, I mean, these playoffs, they're starting to wind down. You know, we're entering that final week. So eliminations are going to be more intense. Everybody has their eye on the prize. And, you know, we're getting closer and closer to it match by match. This one being no exception here. RRG Varsity having a chance to outlive their sister team that sent them down here to the lower bracket. Meanwhile, Enenra, you know, this is a typical squad. They love to be here, and they're certainly not going to be done yet.
Yeah, I mean, Enenra was the mid-season champions. It was a very close, you know, run for them, beating Big T-Tar fan in the grand finals of that mid-season tournament, who are actually currently in the grand finals of the postseason tournament as well. But, you know, taking a little bit of a step back, getting kind of knocked down by Squirt Squad up in that upper bracket, and now having to work their way back up through this lower bracket. They've got a bit of a grueling road ahead of them in that lower semifinals, or either one of these teams, frankly, could do it. But, you know, both these teams, you know, they've got 3 matches before that grand finals. And I mean, it's never going to be easy here, you know, especially what might be their last game on this Malga composition. But if it's not, could be a bit of a rough one going down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, everybody has Tuesday on the brain. There's going to be a large patch. Whatever changes come, what may be, but you got to still be ready for the here and now. Because, this is that last week, right? Even if you win here, regardless of what meta it is, you're looking at 3, 4 more games happening this week. So you're going to be running the gauntlet for either of these squads to come out the other side of it. But it just makes it that much more interesting. It'll be a fun little story to keep them hot all week long, I'm sure. So looking at our squads here, probably going to look at RRG Varsity to start things off. Oh, wait, actually, I
No.
lied.
Yeah.
We're going to look at our schedule first because there's a
Yes.
million different games happening. Teehee XD.
Million, billion, trillion of them. And this is not actually all of them, if I'm not mistaken. There is one more coming up at, I believe, 9 o'clock EST? 10 o'clock?
10 p.m.
Something like that?
EST,
10 p.m.
9
Yeah.
Central.
So there's one below that you can't see because your eyes aren't open enough. But, of course, BGSU Falcons, SCAD B Sports, RRG Varsity versus Enenra, Beagle Bus versus Franklin Phoenix, all essentially running concurrently, which is a word that my producer could not get right the first time. So, echo.
That's tough. That's tough. You can't call out the producer on broadcast.
Oh goodness. But three games all going on at the same time, and one more after that. A lot of Overwatch happening tonight, and a great match potentially on the verge here for RRG versus Enenra. But now we can get a look at our lineups.
Yeah, and starting with RRG, we have Nene and Nonag, who I'm gonna come back to Nonag in a second. Piercing on tank, and then Kuzer and Waterbug the supports. I was just DM'd an interesting fact from our observer. I don't know the validity if this is true, but I'm being told that Nonag is a single father of 4. I feel like this might be one of those LEP memes from the old Overwatch League days where it's just like, yes, there's a billion children out there. But, I mean, yeah, this squad, they come down to the lower bracket at the hands of their junior varsity team. Maybe not how you want to be here, but they're looking to start that lower bracket rung, already have one match under their belt, and looking to make it another here.
Yep, they are looking to get the vengeance, try and move past their lower squad, the JV, try and live longer in the lower bracket despite being sent down by them. But the other team on the other side of this matchup will be looking to end their season prematurely. It's Enenra, the mid-season champions. For their starting lineup, we've got Krusty and Zombie, who this might be the same Zombie from Lunar Falcons, I guess, which is a conversation we had earlier, but was not sure. Red Chimp on the tank, and Suzuka and APVS on that support line. This lineup, I mean, they want to chip in the midseason to get that extra win on the record. Now coming into the, postseason, it has been a little bit more rough, a little bit less easy than it was before, but still looking to roll through this lower bracket to try and get back what they think they deserve.
Yeah, and I mean, it really sucks when you win that midseason because, you think, yeah, we've got all this going on, but that extra win no longer matters. Every match is do or die, and this match will be no exception. Looking forward into it. We have our first map selected. I believe it or not, you can guess what it is. It's Lijiang Tower. The teams pick it. They love it. I feel like every single broadcast we talk about teams loving Lijiang, so I'm not going to say it anymore. If you as a viewer don't know it, I think that's tough. That's on you.
Yep, headed into Lijiang Tower. Don't expect any big departures from the Rush meta, whether it's the Malga or whatever these teams may try to run. As you can see through the wall right there, that is a Malga on either side. The interesting scenarios, Krusty on the Venture. Nonag was hovering the Tracer. I don't expect that to stay. But I've been wrong before about these kinds of things.
Yeah, but Tracer is so difficult into this Mauga comp, specifically because of the backline, right? Everybody focuses on Mauga, but really the highlight is the Brigitte and Juno that have been taking over the meta. That being said, RRG Varsity choosing to go with the Ana. Some teams have been opting into this if they're not as confident in their Brig play. It does mean that you're pretty much only going to be playing off of the nades, right? Because your supports, they can't care for each other as easily as something like a Brig. And Rally versus Nano, I mean, it's such a hugely different...
Oh, here we go. That Brig out so quickly. Nene chasing down APVS and Nonag coming in to try and help out with these remaining stragglers. 1 second until the point unlocks. RRG Varsity clean it up pretty quick.
They clean it up, they get the job done exactly how they need to here. And I mean, like I was saying, you have to just be able to isolate targets, find that back line. Normally it's the Tracer's job, but this time Piercing was the one really doing it here. Now Enenra trying to walk forward. It's gonna be, you know, pretty difficult for them. This Malga got a little separated.
Oh, Red Chimp in hard on top of Waterbug. Both cardiac overdrives invested, but Zombie comes in for the save. Piercing falling over, and it will be Enenra coming back in very quickly to take back this point.
And that's sort of the worry when you're running the Ana over the Brigitte, right? It's a lot easier, right? Ana, her only real escape ability is sleeping the one person that's on her and then trying to just walk away while that person is on the floor. So Waterbug has to be very mindful of their positioning, stay out of the fight as best they can while still providing the heals and looking for those nade opportunities.
Nene with this Death Blossom ready to go, but Krusty and APVS have already come out with 1 kill apiece here in this fight. Not a target in sight for Piercing to try and get that cardiac overdrive damage on. Pulse Bomb is out, but no recall will come out. Nonag did kill 3, but 3's not enough when everybody else is dead.
Yeah, I mean, flashy plays from Nonag there. You even throw the Pulse Bomb into the mix, but ultimately it does not come away, like you said, with that fight win here. And Enenra still going to be in control, get their team back to it. And they're probably just going to look to run down this backline again, now with some ultimates in the bank.
I mean, Red Chimp goes in hard again. That anti annoying, but ultimately not going to go down before 2 people are already dead. 60% now for Enenra as they rip through this RRG squad.
Having to be very mindful there. Enenra invests 3 ultimates into that fight, so RRG Varsity coming up on a good fight for them. They're going to have pretty much everything. Nix the Pulse Bomb, of course, here, but if all it takes is Suzuka putting in the correctly placed Orbital Ray here to give that sustain to Enenra to allow them to live through a lot.
Alright, well, here is the cage fight. Suzuka will drop the Orbital Ray down in the center. Unfortunately, alone is that Juno player, and RRG will be able to weather the cage fight there and take the flip back.
I mean, still a worthwhile trade, right? You're taking Orbital Ray for the Cage Blossom combo here, but RRG Varsity careful to not invest anymore because they have to start building up some good point percentage here. It is going to be a charge in again from Drenchimp, though.
And there will be a recall enforced by Nonag now. Tectonic Shock and a massive anti onto 4 players, but no follow-up. Now, the Orbital Ray does help Nene to drop 2 players, and it will be enough to keep RRG Varsity in control.
I mean, like you said, that anti was absolutely insanely massive. It does force out the Orbital Ray, though, so now you're looking at a bit of an even ult fight, right? It is just going to be this Death Blossom coming up for Zombie versus, you know, a Pulse Bomb. If the fight goes long, then they will get towards another Death Blossom of their own. But no cages to pair with these means the Reaper are going to have a lot of agency to really figure out where they want to place this.
Piercing needs to live here and cannot, and Nonag trying to make decision, ends up feeding APVS a Pulse Bomb. Nene still has this Death Blossom, as does Zombie, and Nene will rip that ultimate clean at 2 kills. Zombie using theirs as well, unfortunately for Enenra. That is more than likely going to do it. Waterbug does fall, but it's going to be up to Krusty and APVS to try and keep this rolling, and the Brig is the only one left.
Yeah, and so now, I mean, it's going to be a Malga charge in here. Red Chimp, even tearing up the cage, what are you going to do inside of it besides die? It's just going to be a matter of time. That being said, well, he's finding some good picks.
Yeah, Suzuka comes in, gets 2 players dead, and now it is up to Piercing to try and keep it rolling. Has the cardiac overdrive, should they so choose. will not choose to use that ability, but did choose to use the ultimate, which questionable investment there.
And so now, coming into the next one, right, you're going to have Enenra get both support ultimates, whereas it would just be the nano boost for RRG. So these DPS are going to have to find picks onto the backline before Enenra can get this online.
Well, here's the nano boost onto Nene, but Kuzer drilled right through Stomp onto Nene. It is a very, very close fight as APVS eats another pulse bomb. Zombie so low will end up falling to Piercing, who returns from spawn. Krusty dropping this tectonic shock in, and what looked like an RRG Varsity win here on the control center turns out to Enenra for a variety of missteps.
I mean, yeah, those last few fights were just so unbelievably chaotic. Everybody just throwing everything in the kitchen sink into some of these situations here. But RRG Varsity, you know, their composition, it's showing its weaknesses, right? When you're on that Ana and Tracer instead of the typical Juno, and then either some other form of support, it makes it, you know, your life is just going to be that much harder. You have to be finding antis constantly, otherwise Waterbug is never really going to have impact in these fights more than just being the target focus of Enenra. And that Tracer, like I said, if you're, you know, it's beautiful when you get these sticks onto APV, but besides that, when are you actually dealing damage, putting in consistent pressure onto this backline? You're not going to really be able to.
All right, Piercing in early here on Garden. Over to the White Room goes the rest of Enenra, however, so playing from the far side before the point unlocks. Zombie immediately very low in the target priority. Like you said, going into that backline, anti out onto Red Chimp, and the backline has fangs, it would appear. Waterbug keeping their tank up and helping to drop Red Chimp.
And it's so crucial there. Not only that anti gets a 5, but it gets followed up on, right? Red Chimp has made this mistake a few different times on Malga already in this matchup, as finally these kills come through to get Varsity the point. But, you know, Malga does not want to go for these really long charges, right? It's more of a short charge and a re-engage. That way your Reaper can help you and follow up and be in that range. But Red Chimp is constantly going for these mile-long charges just to get on the Ana. And while sure, it puts Waterbug under pressure, if there's a nade ready and the rest of RRG can sort of turn and blow that Malga up like we saw there, then Red Chimp's just going to have a hell of a hard time.
Wow, Krusty now opting off of the Echo over to the Tracer Mirror. So now both teams playing exactly the same thing with the exception of the Ana versus the Brig. Piercing the first to fall, Waterbug under pressure, Sleep will not connect, and now Red Chimp's a little more confident that they will not get caught out, especially because Zombie has killed 2. So the flip will go over to Enenra.
You get the flip there, and I mean, adding this Tracer into the mix when you know there's a Tracer on the other side, it almost, again, benefits Enenra a lot because you're going to be able to keep that pressure on Waterbug, as we saw there, just applying all of that damage. The poke throughout the fight made it so no antis could come through. Waterbug instead had to use the Biotic Grenade for healing. Keeping situations like that alive is what's going to make it so great for, you know, Enenra to keep winning these fights.
Oh, Krusty dead, anti out on it too. Those two will be immediately cleansed by APVS. The Death Blossom in to follow up on both the cage fight and the Kitsune Rush. The fight win comes through, but it was very expensive.
I mean, yeah, but it not necessarily super expensive on both sides, but you get some good ultimates out. Right now you're going to be looking at a Pulse Bomb for Krusty as well as this Orbital Ray, which is going to be mirrored by Kuzer on the other side. Piercing with the cage is going to have to be the difference maker, and it's going to need to trap at least 3 members here. That way you can use that Orbital Ray to keep yourself healthy and not get caught in the enemy's Orbital Ray.
Well, here is the cage fight and Orbital Rays from either side. The cage fight for Piercing immediately broken, and it seems like both of these teams are following the opposite Orbital Ray down. A 2-for-2 trade as Zombie looks to try and keep Enenra in this fight, and gonna make that a hat trick in this fight at 71%. This next fight is going to be desperate for RRG.
I mean, yeah, they don't have anything right now. They're hoping to get towards a Death Blossom, maybe a Pulse Bomb if this fight goes along here. That pick on the Red Chimp is a good start, however, but when Enenra re-engages this as a team, they're going to have this Cage Blossom combo, and we know how devastating it can be unless somehow it just whiffs the cage entirely.
Well, backing off, waiting for their Malga to come back is Enenra. Now RRG are waiting for the re-engagement, and the Death Blossom from Nene caught in the cage fight of Red Chimp. Not exactly what they had in their mind when they pressed that ultimate button, and now, as they are at 93%, if they clean up these late staggers, there won't be a chance for another touch.
I mean, yeah, it's just going to be the Death Blossom in the spawn quick as you like, and Enenra will be able to take the round in a pretty convincing manner here. Again, playing just more orthodox with that stable backline, doing exactly what they need to. RRG Varsity, you know, they have these unique little adaptations, but, you know, if you're figured out, if you're slammed on time and again, sometimes you got to go back to what's tried and true.
Yeah, and you know, there's a lot of times where I will lament the use of a Kiriko in this composition, whether it's replacing the Brig or the Juno. I don't tend to like the swap to the Kiri. I think it was justified in this case because Waterbug was really kind of fragging with those biotic grenades. I mean, they were hitting 3-4 players at a time at points. So I understand the adaptation onto the Kiriko there, and that's a good one to make, right? And I really, really appreciate that it didn't replace the Juno, because I feel like the Juno is, you know, the reason that this comp works the way that it does. She is absolutely the backbone of a lot of these previous metas. So I appreciate the adaptations, and, you know, forcing... Krusty to take on the Tracer duel and losing that, it's unfortunate for RRG. Just a couple of compositional errors and decision-making errors, and Enenra are more than happy to take advantage of those.
Exactly, and so now we'll have to see sort of what the plan is for RRG Varsity, right? Because they just sort of, like you said, they had this little style with the Ana here, and if you want to enable the Ana, that immediate thought comes to high ground maps, right? So, you know, in terms of your map mode selection, you do have some versatile options there. Things that come to mind: Hollywood, Dorado. I'm sure there's another one that's slipping my mind. Rialto, you can sort of get away with it depending on the high ground and things of that nature, but ultimately, if that's what you're truly choosing to lean into, you have to go to a map that's going to enable it, make it harder for the enemy to slam on to that Malga. Because in Enenra, right, Red Chimp was literally just basically pinning to the backline with this slam off cooldown, and very rarely ever getting punished for it. Being able to get away with murder would be the best way to put it. Just this Ana constantly under siege by Malga here. So, you know, RRG Varsity, if this is your plan, you really got to do what better to protect your Ana.
Yeah, and I mean, there are a multitude of maps, like you said, Hollywood, Route 66 is not horrific, Havana, and the one that we are going to be going to, you know, it's hit or miss. I think that it is a fine map if you want to try a dive, I suppose. I think the Malga is still better, but we're going to Blizzard World for map number 2. Mega, what are you thinking about Blizzard World? It's not exactly where the direction we thought that RRG was going to go.
I mean, like you said, the Malga is still plenty fine here, but the first point and second point, there are some high grounds you can take advantage of. You can be a little bit more nuanced with your positioning and things like that, but I think that's going to be the main key for both these squads, really, is positioning, making sure that you're in the place that you want to be constantly, right? Because the Malga comp, if you're playing into dive, specifically on first point, there's some rotations you have to make. A lot of people like to end up rotating. That way they're sort of behind the point in that main archway before they really worry about an engagement and things of that nature. Meanwhile, like I said, once you're getting into second point, that high ground is there, but it's easily accessible, some beautiful staircases. But if we manage to go all the way to third, I mean, the Malga just becomes more powerful again. Generally, Brawl just gets that Giga buff with the more flat laning that comes with third point here on Blizzard World. And, I don't know. Blizzard World, I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. Maybe we'll see some Wrecking Ball. This is generally where teams, if they want to pull out a dive, like you said, this will be the map for it. But if it's just going to be more of the Malga, then I'm not really sure why exactly this would be the map pick.
Yeah, I mean, if they're going to run a dive, I think that it's fine. I think that if you want Waterbug to be as comfortable as they can be, you kind of have to. Because, like, that's the only scenario that you run the Ana over the Juno Brig, I feel like, is if you're going to run a dive composition, whether it's the Diva or a Winston or a Wrecking Ball or whatever. It's just hard to justify an Ana in the current state, right? I understand this is not like open tier where, you're playing for money with all the best teams in the world, but and because of that, this is the one of the more common places where you'll see like these comfort picks like an Ana, like a Kiriko, and they'll try to force this. And unfortunately, Enenra's adaptations to the Ana kind of made it obsolete on the first map of Lijiang Tower. So a little more consistent if you're running a dive, but otherwise, it's gonna be rough if they go over back to that Malga.
Hot take.
Oh my
Hot take.
God.
Oh my god. Why are we zoomed in on his face? Jeez Louise. Of all the shots we got, like the actual jump scare. What incarnation?
Thanks, Mara. Oh my goodness.
Nah,
that
that was far
Mara.
too creative. That couldn't have been Mara. That's too creative. That has to be. Well, wait, who do we have? Mara. It was Mara. Wow. I guess I gotta give Mara more credit. But hot take, like I was gonna say, I enjoy daytime Blizzard World more than nighttime. I think it is a little too dark at night. Not a fan of the skybox. It's a little bit too ominous here. But speaking of ominous things, we do have this dive in play. And interestingly enough, it's for Enenra here, who have opted into the dive with the Diva, using a lot of that defense matrix probably to kite Malga. Meanwhile, RRG Varsity, they're still playing the Malga comp, but it's still with this Ana adaptation, which I think is going to be hell on earth to try to really run effectively on this first point. You have to, again, make sure Waterbug can play somewhere safe, and there's not really a lot of places to do that against this well-coordinated dive.
I mean, this is just a dive comp with a Malga right now for RRG, and I'm not sure how well this is going to work into Enenra's proper comp. But I guess we will have to see, let the answers speak for themselves. Pressure on the point by RRG early. Piercing trying to find something going. You see Red Chimp in that backline diving onto whoever might be on that high ground. And Krusty putting some work in on that background themselves. A little bit of damage in here, a little bit there as Nonag put some pressure on the backline, but Piercing is so damn low and gonna explode at the hands of Red Chimp.
I mean, yeah, an explosion is definitely the way I would put it here. So now it's just going to be more cleanup as finally these health bars are dwindling for Varsity. And, this dive, it's being played in such a subtle, perfect way for Enenra right now, where you're not really trying to hard engage onto a target, right? It's not something like where you see the tank and the tracer trying to sync up, get me in the right place. No, it's simply sort of outlasting your opponent, and I think Varsity has sort of recognized that, piercing now over to the Diva. But again, your honest positioning is going to have to be top-notch, otherwise you're going to feel incredibly frail.
Alright. I like this adaptation, though, over the Malga for certain. We'll see if it's going to work out here. 2 minutes, 20 seconds on the clock. Nene trying to put some damage in as pressure on the point goes back through. Nene very, very low right now. Does end up getting those torpedoes. Kuzer able to slide away, receives that bio grenade to get that healing, but Krusty with a two-piece on the pulse bomb, and Enenra stand strong despite the adaptations.
And I mean, this is what I'm talking about. Enenra, it feels like they can just wait. They have recognized that eventually something will go right for them, whether it's a DPS getting a pick, Red Chip being able to go in, or their supports will just keep them healthy the entire time. There's not this urgency from Enenra right now. It's a very sensical, very well-coordinated dive effort that's just sort of stalling the point and waiting for the moment to be right for them. And it's just working out so well on this defense.
All right, well, back in here, 90 seconds on the clock. Nano Boost ready to go for Waterbug, who is under duress once more. Nano Boost will be thrown out onto Piercing, but Waterbug will be very lucky to live here. A tick will come through, but it's actually Kuzer that falls first. And even with 50% of the point coming through for RRG Varsity, you have to wonder if that'll be enough.
I mean, it's starting to look like that answer to that is a harsh and emphatic no, right? But RRG Varsity, you didn't have to invest a whole hell of a lot, as Waterbug's now going to go over to the Lucio here. So you're running a double speed with your D.Va. Sure, you have Bob and stuff online, but look at this for Enenra. Their defense has all 5 ultimates to play with only 40 seconds on the clock.
Aggression from Red Chimp trying to find something in that backline. Krusty joining them briefly. Bob ready to go for Nene. Will not have much pressure on the point. There will be a kill onto Zombie. However, this orbital ray, very, very important for the side of RRG Varsity. Bob will claim Krusty, but it is a 2-and-2 trade. The orbital ray coming down from the other side. Self-destruct to knock Piercing out of the mech there. And I mean, the self-destruct will claim Red Chimp's mech, but with 10 seconds left, there's only going to be so much time. Will they get a touch? It's looking like the answer is no.
No, I mean, everybody's going to try to speed ring their way in. The Lucio will make it in time, but now they have to actually live in. I mean, look at this. They've already been found.
Yeah, Cruiser and Waterbug both falling. Nene meeting the same fate as their teammates. And with 0 seconds left, overtime down. 57% of this point is where RRG will stop. Enenra looking very, very comfortable.
Yeah, like I was talking about, right? There's not this extreme urgency, this like go playstyle you see from a lot of teams. It seems like Enenra, like not like an ego thing either, right? It's not like they're playing with their food or something like that. Like this is very just slow, methodical play, realizing they can simply just wait, right? Varsity is not, you know, pushing the advantage, trying to do anything extra, trying to get forward and be the aggressors in these situations. They're simply just allowing Enenra to sort of wait and coattail this defense until something can come up in the way that they need it to. Now with RRG Varsity on the defense, they're going to have to try to make a miracle happen with only 57% of the point to defend here. Waterbug, I mean, if you're going to run that Ana, this probably would be the best place for it because you're going to have control of the high grounds initially. But Enenra, they're in their own spawn room. They're already hovering a Wrecking Ball potentially. That still has time to switch over to a D.Va. But either way, right, that dive onto the high ground, if it's coordinated from Krusty and Red Chimp, it's going to be hard for this backline to truly be able to live on the side of RRG Varsity.
Perfection needed from RRG, just about. They can only afford to give up one singular tick on their defense. Enenra ready to go. Red Chimp over to the D.Va. RRG on a very creative comp here. We'll see how Enenra responds to it as we get into their attack. You see that Krusty's already on the high ground and RRG have already bailed. Not even attempting to hold on to that high ground, and Zombie finds a couple of shots into Cruiser. Now the engagement happy to come through. No supports on the side of RRG. Krusty cleans up the back line, and you have to imagine that's it for map number 2.
Yeah, I mean, it would take pretty much a miracle stall from RRG Varsity here, and I don't even think they're going to get back in time. Like you said, blink and you miss it. Enenra, they're looking comfortable. They're looking confident in the way they want to play the game right now. And RRG Varsity simply struggling to come up with the answers here. Now facing elimination, they are going to get another map and mode pick. But they've been stumped on Mauga. They've been stumped on the dive. And I feel like if they're not able to sort of, again, make the correct hero swaps or position themselves better, if they're going to continue to run some of these off-meta picks, then it might just be one more map before their season's over.
Yeah, I mean, that was rough. In a word, rough. But I don't know what to say that I haven't already said about how they're playing as a team right now. There's just too many mistakes happening. And not all of them are born out of the fact that they're not playing this meta composition. They're not playing, you know, the number 1 backline in the world. But they're in a vacuum, just letting things happen. And Enenra have been so good at adapting. Like you said, they saw this RRG composition and was like, well, we don't have to do anything. They have to come to us at that point. And it was such a strong defense there because of that fact. And now Enenra, they're sitting on a 2-0 lead. And as we get ready to head into this break, they are happy, they are confident, they know that they have this in them to win it right here in this third and what could be the final map, just because I mean, you saw right there, Enenra, they are extremely confident in their ability.
Yeah, I mean, exactly, extremely confident, like you said, but, you know, this will give time for RRG Varsity to, you know, sort of unwind, unpack, figure out exactly what's going on, give them the chance to build up for that reverse sweep, but, you know, only time will tell. So, like you said, on the other side of this break, we'll be back with the conclusion of this match, so don't go anywhere.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Right now, Enenra looking good, 2-0. And I mean, after that first sub map on Lijiang Tower, haven't really had to sweat that much. They are looking very, very confident, very strong, and it doesn't seem to matter what comp they are running.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely have just fully had control so far with RRG Varsity, just simply not finding the answers they've been looking for here. And it's because in Enenra they've been adapting, right? These niche little playstyles and stuff that RRG Varsity have been playing. The counter comps have been there, the counter strats have been there. And for Enenra, you know, this just looks like another day at the office for them, right? They're not overextending. It's not like this incredible bully match or anything like that. They're just playing some incredibly smart, concise Overwatch.
And we do know where our third map is going to be taking us for RRG's last map selection. I believe it's going to be Hanaoka, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that this is probably going to be going back to base values, right? I think we're headed back to a Mauga comp. I'm not sure outside of that what's happening, because there's been a lot of shenaniganry when it comes to hero selection. I expect an Ana from RRG. I think that much can be asserted here. But otherwise, you know, it's kind of up in the air as we're getting role swaps coming from RRG. We don't know who yet, but they're coming sometime.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this is going to be interesting when you have these role swaps coming through, trying to do, you know, the best that they can. Ultimately, these players, they are just deciding to put no nag over to the tank and piercing on DPS. You know, we never know why this is. Sometimes players, they are just more flexible. Maybe they think in the moment this will work. And hey, I mean, listen, you know, sometimes you just got to throw the pasta at the wall, see what sticks here. But I mean, heading into Clash, it's going to be difficult regardless of what your lineup ends up being, because it's more than likely back to that Mauga setup. You can give yourself a massive opportunity if Waterbug can come up with some nades, but if that Ana comes under pressure again and is in a position where they're needing to heal themselves with a biotic grenade or other things like that, it's really going to take away the advantage that RRG Varsity is trying to find.
Yep. Now, getting ready to head into the map. Eventually, we do a little bit of stalling here. How was your tournament day, Mega?
You know, it was a day. We're officially top 4 for COD Rising. That's fun.
That's heat.
Go support calling all heroes. Because fun fact, our producer Echo was there along with one of our observers, June, putting up some amazing production value for you guys. So, you know, it's another little niche community that you just have to love. That's the great thing about Overwatch. There's a billion, million, trillion communities you can get involved with, including the one here at CGL. Absolutely love to see it. I love, of course, to also give a shout out to, you know, our lovely ad, XYBA, hire them today. I feel like that rhyme scheme really does work. I swear, they should, like, pay us for the advertising or something. I can make, like, a heater commercial. You know what I mean, Fletch?
No, I don't. If I talk, I'm in trouble.
I think if we get like some monster trucks in there, like people might get more interested, you know?
Okay, wait, no, you're actually cooking now.
I'm telling you, like, listen, just give me a budget of like several $1,000s. We're gonna get some monster trucks, probably like some really high quality water guns, and like just a bunch of people. Like, you know, we can just absolutely let people cook because this will all let them know that we can have high production quality. Like that's the goal.
No, that's heat. That's heat. I'm actually curious now how much it costs to rent a monster truck.
I'm gonna Google this. We have time. Nothing else is happening. How much?
How much? Welcome to the In the Fletch Megalast podcast. Today we are going to be learning how much it costs to rent a monster truck for one day.
Well, I'm currently seeing good showing already. Google can't do that AI overview. It physically says an AI overview is not available for this search. So this search is already so sophisticated, AI doesn't work on it.
Okay, so the budget might go up because we might have to build our own. But I think we can get that done too. Okay.
Listen, I haven't found a price. I found a Facebook page that talks about it, but they don't give a price. They just list their price as $4 signs, so I don't know. That's probably like $4.
That's probably pretty expensive. But this brings an end to the In the Fletch Megalast podcast. Thank you all for watching. Now back to your regularly scheduled program. Stalling complete. Hanaoka on the horizon. We'll see what the plan is here for these teams coming in here very, very soon.
Yeah, and I have to imagine, like I said, more of the same with the Malgar, at least some sense of brawl. You're not going to be able to get away with some dive stuff like you normally would, even though RRG Varsity is showing it in the spawn room. Currently, Enenra, about what I'd expect. You have that Malga composition. The Juno break backline, it's just sort of a mainstay here. With Zombie potentially going over to the Sojourn instead of the Reaper, trying to play that range. It could lack a little bit of that frontline damage you are needing, whereas RRG Varsity, interesting switch up all around, right? So you have a Mei Reaper, very limited range, but good for blowing up the Malga, and a Zarya to provide potentially some bubbles, help people escape from situations if they can.
Well, there is both bubbles already used, and Water Bug falls, and just like that, the explosion comes through. Kuzer run through, and that'll be first point convincingly in the hands of an Enenra.
I mean, yeah, then that just comes down to non-nag can't use those bubbles like that, right? You have to pretty much not always save one bubble, but you sort of have to be able to get aggressive with it and know it's in the right place. And Zombie continuing the momentum, getting an early pick on the Nene, now going to make it even easier for Enenra to set up a snowball here. RRG Varsity, they are going to have to actually wait, get their player back in the mix, who's going over to the Cassidy to potentially try to slow this down.
Well, piercing early pick on to Krusty. Here we see the cardiac overdrive in from Red Chimp, but will fall over a little bit overextended here for Enenra, and RRG are happy to oblige.
Yeah, this is not the clean Enenra that we saw on Blizzard World. Like you said, some massive overextension there and some good heads-up play from RRG Varsity to come through and punish it. Now being able to tie us back up a one apiece and throw us back into point C. Now with a better understanding, hopefully, No-Nag doesn't end up using these Zarya bubbles for waste again. But we'll have to see.
Well, we'll be able to get away alive there, but Waterbug already dead as piercing will follow in tow. And I mean, it's the same story as what we saw on the first fight, basically bar for bar.
Bar for bar indeed here. Cruiser missing from the fight early, so again, RRG Varsity going to have to wait. But Enenra this time not going to overextend. They're going to simply hold their position, make sure, granted, because they still have to reach tier point C. But, it's almost good that they sort of waited and took us so long to cap, because now, like I said, they can't overextend and they can actually take a proper fight.
Well, now we see the cage fight in the grab. Not going to be where you would like it to be there for No-Nag, right on the outside of the cage fight. Red Chimp does end up falling over, though, so another fight where Enenra come in swinging hard, but RRG answer with another convincing fight to take us back to C.
I mean, yeah, everything being thrown in there, both the Blizzard and Grab, you have to win that for RRG, right? There's simply no world where, they were going to lose that with those two ultimates. They're so powerful. But now we're heading into a pretty heavy ult fight in the middle here, right? Both teams having both support ultimates as well as a DPS ult to boot here. We'll just have to see what can get more value through all of this sustain, whether it's going to be the Deadeye or this Tectonic Shock.
Rusty down in the dirt. Nene with the Deadeye popped and turning around to get some pressure onto this Sojourn. And now RRG coming out here. They're going to take the lead here on Objective C as Red Chimp falls. Suzuka last one along with APVS, and that'll do it here for this fight. Is RRG gonna take the lead?
They're going to be able to take the lead, and you know this is exactly what they need to do, right? Being able to sustain through these fights, not allowing Enenra to just take full throttle control of the momentum, and start punishing some of these mistakes when they come through. Plus, the lack of damage Enenra is spouting with a Venger Soldier backline is really allowing Nonag to go forward on the Zarya.
Well, now we come in with an orbital ray from Suzuka, and the stomp is just too much damage to deal with there as Krusty cleans up everything there. And then we're going to take us back to parity after a pretty quick fight.
Yep, and it was just the orbital ray investment there. But now coming into this next one, I mean, look at this, right? You have another Graviton Blizzard combo here for RRG. If you have to throw both ultimates in, it's more than a guaranteed win, but maybe potential overextension about to get punished here.
Nonag 105 HP, and you cannot let that happen. The Kitsune Rush comes down, but Red Chimp curb stomps 2 players at once, and I mean, there'll be another touch here, but it's going to be desperate if there is.
It's going to be desperate, but you're coming in again with some very good ultimates. It's going to be about, you know, look at this already, right? Red Chimp is pushed so far forward, but none of the rest of the team are there. So with Graviton, you know, it won't get as much value unless these targets start grouping up a little bit so they can actually get caught by it.
All right, still 2 bubbles in the hands of Nonag, and there is the Graviton Surge. Blizzard as well. Nonag going to be able to clean up both of these supports, piercing the casualty here for RRG, but the retouch is great for them, and they will be able to capture out Objective C once again.
Yep, they're just going to have to make sure to dispatch of Krusty, not allow this Venture to sort of sneak underground and contest that a little bit longer. It just seems like they're just going to end up giving it up here. But again, you had to overlay those 2 powerful ultimates. So coming into the next one, Enenra, they have stacked up a pretty solid bank themselves. As long as they don't have to commit all 4 ultimates here, Enenra is setting themselves up pretty for one final fight.
Well, here is the Deadeye from Nene trying to claim something, but this cage fight, annoying, will only be enough to put some damage into that ultimate. Zombie cleans up 2, make that 3 for Zombie, 2 for Krusty. Point to Enenra, and it'll be all even here at 4, heading in to Objective C for one last time.
Wonderbug has the fate of the game in his hands right now. You have to be mindful here. Zombies overclock can, you know, come away with an early pick if people aren't ready for it. Sound barrier timing is going to be crucial to give people that sustain, but you also may need it to try to sustain through the break rally when the APV is built.
Well, Nonag getting up to 90 HP early. Overclock answered by the sound barrier. Waterbug very low, will get claimed. Everybody got a piece of Waterbug in this fight. Kuzer needs to pop this Kitsune Rush and will. Going to be a very, very rough fight here as they're being shoved outside of the building, let alone the point, and they will be very lucky to get another confident touch, especially with an orbital ray coming down. Nonag 100 charge and 99 to a grab will pop the grab, but it's not anything special, and with Krusty cleaning up 2, that'll do it. Hotly contested there, the closest map by far on Hanaoka, but Enenra come away with the 3-0 victory, and I'm going to be honest with you, Megalas, that last fight was the only close one. Every other fight was confident in either way on that map.
I mean, yeah, it was just kind of that back and forth swinging of the old pendulum here, but ultimately, right, you saw it, and Enenra, they were able to hold on to more at the end of the day, win with less. It was constantly taking a pretty heavy investment from RRG Varsity to win some of those old fights, right? Using Graviton and Blizzard overlapped with each other when both of those should be enough to win you fights on your own is a very telltale sign. Still highly competitive there on Clash, but unfortunately that match is going to be the end of RRG Varsity season here. As Enenra, they get to keep moving on.
Yeah, the mid-season champions will not be felled just yet. For now, though, we're going to cut it to a short break. When we return, we'll have a rep from Enenra to walk us through how they're feeling about this match and how they're feeling moving forward through this lower bracket. So stick around and we'll get to pick their brains. All right, welcome back, everybody. And for the second time today, we've got Zombie of Enenra to talk us through this match. Zombie, Enenra season does not end here just yet. How y'all feeling about the win?
Yeah, it was a good win. It was a good match. We played so much better in the last match where we got 3-0'd. We kind of improved on how we engage and how we start the fight. So yeah, that's a good win. And we can try to win also the other matches and get it to the grand finals.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously the plan here. You guys were able to flex across a variety of compositions here. So, are you guys just naturally as flexible, or because, RRG was running this weird setup with the Ana a lot of the time, did it force you guys to adapt on the fly?
I would say that this meta is kind of weird, maybe, because there's not really a meta. It's like a meta of counters. Because, for example, on first map, there was they were running Ana, and so we went Kiri for countering her. It's like who has the best counters, who kind of counters more. It kind of sucks, honestly. It's not good, but it's just how it works. Also, I mean, Ana is not even a good pick because you can just run on the Ana, Juno Ring and run on the Ana, and Ana then just die. The only thing that is pretty annoying is the nade, so we just have to go Kiri. And for anything else, pretty much nothing to say. I mean, that's it, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes more than enough sense here. As has been the talk of the town lately, right? Even though we don't know any patch notes yet, obviously we know a patch is coming Tuesday. What do you think? Do you think that Enenra is going to be able to be flexible for whatever comes, or are you guys kind of hoping that one meta sort of stays the same for you?
I think that yeah, we can be adaptable. Like, you can adapt because I have a lot of players that can play pretty much everything. Not really me. I mean, I play mostly it scans. But yeah, we can adapt. I think also, I mean, adaptability in Overwatch is one of the best things a team can have because meta switches, situation are always different. So yeah, and if you are able to adapt into a composition in some games, you just do better than any other team like that. The enemy team.
All right, Zombie. Now, I'm sure you've heard this a billion trillion times by now, but any shout outs you'd like to make here?
Just a shout out to my Pookie Viorica who was hyping me up in the chat of Twitch.
All right. Well, Zombie, I've got a feeling that we are going to talk to you again very, very soon, whether it's
Yeah.
here or for the Lunar Falcons. Best of luck in both brackets.
Thank you so much.
And I guess we'll see you when we see you.
We wish you all of you a good night.
All right, you too, man.
Mhm.
All right, Mega. Well, that'll do it for our first match of tonight. It was really very convincing for the first two maps. Hanaoka was a little bit closer, but still Enenra. Their adaptation's just a little bit too strong.
Yeah, and I mean, it absolutely shows why they get to go. They're going to be able to continue on here. Like you said, probably not the last we saw of them. But hey, being able to continue on in this bracket, the upside being everybody else was sort of waiting in this bracket on this match, so they're now going to be able to sort of know their opponents from here on out. So it'll be interesting all the way through here. Only a few games left, of course. But speaking of games, this is not the only game happening. In case you've been living under a rock, you found your way to CGL 2 without the other matches. Over on CGL 1, we currently have SCAD B Sports Black up 2-1 over BGSU Falcons. And then going on our CGL 3 channel, we have Franklin Phoenix versus Beagle Bus. Not sure how that game's going, but it's probably a banger.
A lot of birds today. A lot of bird games today. Lunar Falcons. A lot of winged character games today.
A lot of birds, but they're all getting their wings clipped and getting eliminated. Figure that one out. But
well,
anyway,
except for Lunar Falcons, I suppose.
I mean, hey, yeah, I guess they are alive. They're in that grand finals, but Yeah, I mean, and then we'll also have another game at 10 p.m., but that'll probably be back over on CGL 1. But with all that being said, we'll probably... Whoa.
Live updates. Live
Live
updates.
Whoa, oh my gosh, Beagle Bus won a map. Oh my gosh, everyone panic. Sell stocks.
Console team winning in PC bracket. Me win.
Okay, wait, before we go, I do want to say, Fletch, did you ever, when Overwatch League was a thing, did you ever see like the Overwatch League stock market, how that was a thing that somebody
Yeah,
made?
I did.
If we could get the guy who made that to make
I know
it for
the guy who made
CGL,
it.
get him to make it for CGL for next season, let players like invest stocks and stuff, like it would be so much fun just for goofy nonsense.
Well, I'll let Quincy know. But for now, that'll do it here for RRG versus Enenra. In just about under an hour, we are going to be back with a 5th match of the day that nobody could see on that schedule. It'll be Vicious Control versus Vicious Sharks, another vicious matchup in the console open tier of North America. So that'll be a lot of fun. I don't know if it'll be here or on CGL 1, but regardless, keep an eye out for that match. And yeah, that'll do it for us here. Thank you for watching, and we'll see y'all in just a little bit.